Abraham Lincoln, the president who preserved the Union. Have you ever wondered how a great nation holds itself together? How, in its darkest hour, it finds the strength not just to survive, but to be reborn? The answer often lies in the most unexpected of places. It can be found in a story that begins in the deep woods of the American frontier. It starts inside a small, one-room log cabin, with a dirt floor and a flickering fire. This is where, on February 12, 1809, a boy named Abraham Lincoln was born. Born in Hardin County, Kentucky, he would lead a nation through civil war, issue the Emancipation Proclamation, and help preserve the Union. This is the promise at the heart of his story. His world was one of hardship, tall trees, hard work, the simple life of pioneers carving out a home in Kentucky, then Indiana, and later Illinois. There were no great libraries in his home, no famous teachers to guide him. His parents, Thomas and Nancy, were simple, hard-working people. They could not give him wealth, but they gave him something more important: values. A sense of right and wrong, the value of honesty, and the strength to endure. In the quiet vastness, a seed was planted. Curiosity, a deep desire to learn, a quiet strength. He taught himself. He read the Bible, Aesop's fables, Shakespeare, anything he could borrow, sometimes walking miles for a book. He worked as a farmer, rail splitter, store clerk. In New Salem, he served as postmaster and surveyor, earning a reputation for honesty and humor. Law beckoned. He studied by firelight and passed the bar in 1836, becoming a lawyer in Springfield, known for fairness and plain-spoken clarity. In 1834, he was elected to the Illinois state legislature as a Whig. He supported roads, canals, and railroads, believing infrastructure would connect communities and fuel prosperity. His voice was steady, his logic clear. He honed his oratory and debate. He opposed the Mexican-American War and held early anti-slavery sentiments. His conscience and common sense began to define his public life. In 1858, Lincoln challenged Senator Stephen A. Douglas. He warned, "A house divided against itself cannot stand." The nation could not endure half slave and half free. 7 debates electrified Illinois and the country. Douglas argued popular sovereignty. Lincoln pressed the moral question of slavery's expansion. He lost the Senate race, but his words earned national recognition and paved the way to 1860. The election of 1860 became a referendum on the Union. The Republicans chose Abraham Lincoln for his humble roots, moderation on slavery, and defense of the Union. Fierce campaigning followed. His name didn't appear on ballots in 10 southern states. He won the Electoral College with under 40% popular vote, decisive yet sectional. Southern states seceded and formed the Confederacy. The House was collapsing. His duty was clear: to preserve the Union. In March 1861, Lincoln took the oath, pleading for peace. "We are not enemies, but friends. We must not be enemies." He vowed to uphold his constitutional duty to preserve, protect, and defend the Union. Fort Sumter, a symbol of federal authority, became a flashpoint. On April 12, 1861, Confederate guns opened fire. The Civil War had begun. Lincoln called for 75,000 volunteers. The response was overwhelming. But the Union was unprepared. Its army was small, its generals inexperienced. At Bull Run, the Union suffered a disastrous rout back toward Washington. The war would not be quick or easy. It would demand sacrifice and resolve. Lincoln lived in the telegraph office at night, reading dispatches, feeling every loss. He learned strategy on the job, studying military texts and guiding commanders from Washington. George McClellan, brilliant organizer, too cautious, always outnumbered in his mind, reluctant to strike. Lincoln pleaded, urged, and ordered him to move. Still, hesitation. Other generals followed, some beaten, some lacking will. He faced a divided public and made unpopular choices to keep the war effort steady. He suspended habeas corpus in places to keep border states like Maryland and Kentucky loyal, yet he never lost his humanity, visiting the wounded, writing grieving families. The burden was his to bear. The war's purpose deepened. To save the Union, Lincoln saw he must strike at slavery. Enslaved labor sustained the rebellion: food, fortifications, logistics. After Antietam in September 1862, he had the strength to act. He warned the Confederacy, return by year's end or enslaved people in rebelling regions would be forever free. On January 1, 1863, he signed the Emancipation Proclamation. It transformed the war, no longer just to save the old Union, but to create a new Union without slavery. Nearly 200,000 black soldiers and sailors would fight for the Union. A promise took root, a new birth of freedom in blood-soaked soil. In the summer of 1863, the armies met at Gettysburg. For 3 days, July 1st through the 3rd, the largest, bloodiest battle on American soil raged. Lee was defeated and forced to retreat. The cost, staggering: over 50,000 killed, wounded, or missing. That fall, they dedicated a national cemetery. Lincoln was asked for a few appropriate remarks. He spoke for just over 2 minutes, 272 words, yet gave the war its meaning. A nation conceived in liberty, dedicated to equality, a test of whether such a nation could endure. He called the living to rededicate themselves to the unfinished work, a new birth of freedom, so that government of the people, by the people, for the people, shall not perish from the earth. In 1864, amid division and doubt, Lincoln stood for re-election. With Ulysses S. Grant commanding all Union forces and momentum shifting, voters chose to continue the fight. His vision for Reconstruction focused on reconciliation, not punishment. In April 1865, at Appomattox, Robert E. Lee surrendered to Grant, effectively ending the war. A battered Union edged toward healing. On April 14, 1865, days after victory, Lincoln attended a play at Ford's Theater. John Wilkes Booth, a Confederate sympathizer, shot the president. He died the following morning. Grief swept the nation. Reconstruction's course shifted as Vice President Andrew Johnson took office. The steady hand that saved the Union was gone. Lincoln preserved the Union in its most perilous time and held fast to democratic principles. His leadership helped end slavery through the Emancipation Proclamation and, ultimately, the 13th Amendment. He led with patience, humility, empathy, and moral responsibility. His words endure, clarifying liberty, equality, and national purpose. He reminded us that democracy depends on the people themselves. From frontier rails to a reunited republic, his choices shaped America's path. Lincoln's legacy is a living charge to widen freedom and keep the Union true to its ideals. Greatness is not given. It is earned and used in service to something larger than oneself. From humble beginnings to monumental leadership, Lincoln's life is the story of America itself. He preserved the Union, reshaped its purpose, and set it on a more just course, so that this nation shall have a new birth of freedom, and that government of, by, and for the people shall endure. Thank you for watching our historical rendition of Abraham Lincoln, the president who preserved the Union. Please like, share, and subscribe to see more historical adventures.